Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to write variables in mathematics using the Nemeth Braille Code. So whether you're uh, a student with visual impairment who is learning Braille, particularly Nemeth Braille Code, or you're a teacher supporting a blind or low vision student, this video lesson will try to guide you step by step on the rules and on the procedures in writing variables in math. So without further ado, let's get started. Firstly, let us define what is a variable in the context of math or mathematics. Now, we know in arithmetic that numbers or numerals assume a specific value. And in algebra, we call these numbers as constants because they have a fixed or a constant value associated to uh, these numbers or these symbols. On the other hand, variables are quantities that represent values that can change or can vary depending on a particular problem or particular situation in math. No? So, and variables are usually represented by letters or the letters of the English alphabet. And the common ones are the letters X, Y, and Z. No? And basically in high school and even higher math, the most common variables are these last three letters of the English alphabet. Now, when we have a letter that appears in a specific math expression, this letter or these letters are actually treated as math symbol. So they are no longer uh, they are no longer deemed as part of a literary text because they are already part of a math expression. And when these letters are treated as math symbols, then the Nemeth Braille Code rules apply to them. So this basically implies that English letter indicator that we normally use in literary text can no longer be used in these letters. Another thing is that we need to use the Nemeth formatting rules in these letters. And yeah, basically these two things apply because these letters are already deemed as math symbols. Now let's go straight to the rules, and the first major or the first big rule is that we do not use English indicator or English letter indicator. Now, uh, that is when we have or when we use these letters in the context of math. So variables like I said earlier, X, Y, and Z in math cannot be uh, paired with English letter indicator. And also, we also have the abbreviations, which I already had a video on this. Now, abbreviations cannot also have English letter indicator. So like abbreviations for like meter and so on with the other liters. So we cannot use that's 5 and 6, the English letter indicator before these abbreviations. And also for identifiers, like for the letter R, for radios, no? R identifies or R connotes radios, and we cannot use the English letter indicator still. Basically, because these letters are in or are used in a math context. Next major rule is the use of the numeric indicator, or in here in the Philippines we say the number sign. Now, even though variables can stand or can represent numbers, we do not treat them as numbers in Nemeth Braille Code. Again, these variables can represent or can stand for numbers or specific value, but we do not treat them as numbers in Nemeth Braille. So we do not we do not use uh, the numeric indicator, that's 3, 4, 5, and 6, before these variables. We apply the letter rules, not the number rules. So we don't put a numeric indicator before our variables like letter X or like X, Y, or Z, no? And so on. Next is the rule on capitalization in relation to writing variables. Now, we use .6 or the capital sign indicator before each capital letter. Now, that means that if we have a capital letter as a variable in math, we need to put .6 before this capital letter when we transcribe these capital letters. So, for example, uh, the variable t or capital T, we need when we transcribe it into Braille, we need to put .6 before letter T. And say we have capital R, capital T, we need to put 2.6, we need to put .6R and then .6T. So each letter needs its own .6 because each capital letter or these capital letters are treated as separate entities. No? So each letter needs to have each its own .6. Again, each letter should have its own .6 preceding it. I hope that's clear. Next rule is on spacing rules. Now we should not put a space between a variable and a number. So for example, we have uh, x raised to the power of 2. So that's although that is due for another video lesson on superscript or on exponents, but we do not put a space before or between x and the superscript 2. And we also should not put a space between variable and an operation sign. So, for example, here I put x plus 3. When we write it in Braille, we do not put a space between x and the plus sign. No. So, these are the things that we need uh, to follow, no, in writing variables in math. So, in other expressions, then we need to space normally, no. Next rule is when we are dealing with adjacent letters, no, in variables. Although this is more of a rule in algebra when we have letters that are adjacent, no? So we 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 should observe that when these letters are written next to each other or they're adjacent, the operation that these letters or these variables uh, mm, have should be multiplication. So I have here an example, x, y, z. Now when we write x, y, z and there's no space, meaning they're just adjacent to each other, that means that we multiply x by y and by z. So that means x times y times z. Now this is a rule actually in algebra. When we have variables next to each other, then we need to multiply these variables, or the operation that is uh, that is that exists between these variables is multiplication. So for example, x, y, z, or x times y times z, and we have values, like I have here, x is equal to 3, y is equal to 2, and z is equal to 5. So that this implies that when we have x, y, z, we multiply the values of x, y, and z. And we know that the value of x is 3, y is 2, and z is 5. We multiply 3 times 2 times 5, which gives us 30. Next is the use of the Nemeth indicator. Now, in math, say we have word problems, or we're doing problem solving and we have a word problem. These word problems are, of course, written using uh, Unified English Braille. And if that happens, uh, that we have literary text and we have the Nemeth Braille, or that we have variables and we have numbers in between these text, no? So in between the text, then we need to use the Nemeth indicators. So uh, yeah, make use of the Nemeth indicators. Use We need to use the opening and the closing Nemeth indicator, which tells us that when we have the opening Nemeth indicator, that means that math begins there, and we have the closing, therefore math ends there. So it's there are two symbols here: the opening Nemeth indicator and also the closing Nemeth indicator. That is uh, when we have a text, no, in the literary text written in Unified English Braille, uh, and there's a math expression in between. So we need to put opening and closing Nemeth indicators. Now here's a special case. The symbol for pi, which is a Greek letter, and basically the pi is a constant. It has a constant value of 3.14159 and so on. So it's 3.14 dot dot dot. And it needs to be treated as a constant or as a specific number. However, uh, it is written with a letter, no? It has it uses two cells. The first cell being the Greek symbol indicator, that's for 6, and you have letter P on the second cell. So although it's a constant, but in math, the pi, or the symbol for pi is treated like a variable in a math expression. So we make use of the rules, no, pertaining to uh, math variables when we deal with pi. So this is a special case. Now let's jump to some examples now for us to concretely use the rules that we just learned. So say we have here x plus 7. So we have the variable x plus a number 7. When we write that in Braille, we outrightly write letter x. Now in this case, it's a lowercase x. We don't need to put that 6. There's no need to write numeric indicator because x is a letter and it's a variable. So x plus 7, and there's no space between x and the operation sign or the operator plus. So x plus 7, letter x, and then the plus in Nemeth, 346, and then you have the number 7. Next, we have y minus 5. This is capital letter Y minus 5. So when we transcribe that into Braille, we put that 6 and then letter Y, the minus sign, and 5. So there's no space between Y and minus sign. Next, we have here line AB. So we have text, the word line, and then capital letters A and B. As we know in geometry, most of the letters there or the variables there are written in capital letters. So here we make use of a rule that if we have we make use of the rule on capitalization in variables. So we transcribe the word line, that's line, and we do not contract in Nemeth. Remember this, we do not make use of contractions in Nemeth. So we write line, and then the letters A and B with dot 6 for each letter. So it's not 2.6 or uh, two capital sign indicators, but we put dot 6 in A and dot 6 in B. Okay, so that's 6 for each letter. Next, another set of examples. So we have here 3x plus 8. Now, since we have a number 3 as coefficient of x there, this time we need to put a numeric indicator because it's not just x. We have number 3 before x, or the coefficient of x is 3. So when we transcribe this, when we write this in math, we use the numeric indicator and then the number 3, then letter x. So there's no space between the the number 3 and x. So 3x plus and then the number 8. Next, we have 4rs minus, oh, that should be equals 24. So we have two letters, two variables here, 4, and then you have two variables r and s, both in lowercase. So when we write this, we have numeric indicator, and then 4, and then rs, then space, then the equal sign, space, numeric indicator, and then 24. And then lastly, we have 21 minus pi. So as the rule states, the special rule regarding pi, that pi is treated as a variable. So here we write numeric indicator and then 21 minus and then pi, which is composed of two cells. That's 46 in the first cell and letter P on the second cell. Now, here is the summary of the key rules that we just learned in this video on writing variables in math. First is that we do not use English letter indicator in math. Next, we do not use numeric indicator for variables. And we need to use that 6. So this time we are required, or we are required to use that 6 or the capital indicator for capital letters, variables that are capitalized. And we should have no space between variables and numbers, and also between variables and operators. And we use Nemeth indicators when needed. And if we have if you have variables adjacent to each other, then there is an implied multiplication or the operation as multiplication. And for pi, we need to use the correct Greek letter formatting for pi, which is treated as a variable also. So with this, I hope you learned something from this video. If you did, kindly share and subscribe. Thank you. See you on my next video. God bless us all.